Okay, guys, so hopefully in the previous question, it built up your confidence question 18. This was more of a straightforward kind of question. And hopefully now you can see, guys, the skills that I've taught you coming into fruition. But now, guys, let's move on. Now we're going to move on to the IMAT 2016 paper. And the first question to do with conclusions on this paper was question 5. So let's read the passage together, guys. It says, in 1688, the Irish philosopher William Molyneux asked whether a blind person who regained their vision could recognize by sight an object they had previously only known by touch. Richard Held and Pawan Sinha of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology attempted to answer this question in an experiment with 5 children in India who had just had successful surgery which gave them their sight for the first time. Within 48 hours of the operation, children were asked to fill a toy block without looking at it. They were then shown 2 blocks, one of which they had touched. They identified the original just over half of the time, and this is only a little better than guesswork. Recognizing touched object by sight alone improved within days. And then it says, which of the following can be drawn as a conclusion of the passage? So, guys, give yourself just over a minute and be sure to come back where we're going through the solution. Okay, guys, welcome back. So let's go through the regular procedure. This is in 1688, so it's given really a date. Whenever you see numbers, that's always indicative that this is probably going to be a fact. So it says in 1688, the Irish philosopher was asked whether a blind person who regained their vision could recognize by sight an object they had previously only known by touch. So this is clearly a fact, isn't it? So we're going to X all of this. So let's X all of that. Then it says Richard Held and Pawan of MIT attempted to answer this question in an experiment with 5 children in India who had just had successful surgery, which gave them their sight for the first time. Right. So this is just stating what has happened, isn't it? This is stating a fact. So again, all of this is just fact. Okay. So all of this is fact. And then it says within 40 hours, again, we're seeing numbers, isn't it? So within 40 hours of the operation, the children were asked to fill a toy object without looking at it, right? So this again is all fact. And then it says they were then shown 2 blocks, one of which they had touched. And then it says again, so this is just part of the experience. This is again just all fact. And then it says they identified the original block just over half of the time. And this is only better, or this is only a little better than guesswork, right? So again, just explaining the results. Again, that's going to be all fact. And then it says recognizing touch only by sight alone improvement days. That's just, again stating the results, isn't it? Okay, good. So I'd agree, guys. This is one of the more difficult passages. So this is a passage where there's not really an opinionated sentence. This is one of the passages where you have to you just read it. Now you have to think in your head, okay, what did I just read, basically? So this experiment is something along the lines that after surgery, you're essentially you recognizing stuff by sight would improve by you practicing over time. And that's, I think, is going to be the main sort of conclusion about this passage. But let's look at the options. So using children experiments such as the one described above is morally wrong. That's completely wrong, isn't it? Because nowhere does it talk about morals in that passage. Okay. Then the next one, identify an object by sight alone, which had been touched but not seen previously, is learned behavior and not innate. Yeah, I think this is a good fit, isn't it? It says so they were practicing, it says around for 2 days or 48 hours. So over 48 hours, then it says they identi and it says recognizing touch object by sight alone improved within days. So you're improving over time. So you're learning over time. If it was innate, then that would mean that you would immediately after the surgery, like boom, you would be straight good at it. But this is not the case. You're learning over time. So I think this so far is the best one. And then the next one, identify an object by sight alone, which had been touched but not seen previously, is innate behavior and not learned. So I don't think it's innate behavior. If it was innate, then as soon as your eyes were fixed up, then the participants in this experiment should have been better straight away. But no, it took some time for the results to kick in. So this can't be the one. And then identify an object by sight alone, which had been touched but not seen previously, is something which adults do better than children. No, in the experiment is it comparing adults with children, so it can't be that. Identify an object by sight alone, which had been touched but not seen previously, is something which children do better than adults. Again, is no way comparing adults between children. So even, guys, if you didn't know between B and C which one it was, you would have had a 1 in 2 chance because 3 of them are completely wrong and out of context, right? So remember, guys, these are the type of passages where the passage is hard because it's not really an opinionated sentence, but then the answer is a bit more straightforward because there would always be at least 3 of them which are wildly wrong. So that would, by process of elimination, get you towards the right answer. But in this one, guys, the correct answer would be B. So I hope, guys, that has made sense. And as we move on, we should get better at this. And don't worry, don't be too disheartened, guys, if you didn't get it this time. I'm sure you'll be good for the next one. So see you then. Okay, guys, so previously we were looking at question 5, and I agree this question was a bit difficult, but hopefully, guys, through the process of elimination, we have literally seen the power of that several times already. We managed to get the correct answer. Let's go through the next one, guys, so which is question 11 of the same paper. So let's read it. It says, children need to play in order to develop their thinking skills. When children play, they are merely going through scenarios, working out the consequences and implication of actions, puzzling out what might happen, the very same process adults have learned to do in their heads, the process more commonly known as thinking. It follows that thinking and playing are really one and the same thing, right? And then it says, which of the following best expresses the main conclusion of the above argument? So, guys, give yourself a minute or so, come back, and we will be going through the solution. Okay, guys, welcome back. Let's go through this and go through the general procedure. So, children need to play in order to develop their thinking skills. Whenever you see these words, guys, need, you have to do this. It's really demanding language. Those are super strong opinions. And really, guys, if you see these sort of demanding words, you've more or less found your most opinionated sentence and probably found the conclusion of the paragraph. Because if I'm telling you it's probably going to be the most opinionated sentence, there's probably nothing which is more opinionated than that. But let's go through the rest anyway. So it says, when children play, they are merely going through scenarios, working out the consequences and implications of action, puzzling out what might happen, the very same process that adults have learned to do in their heads. The process more commonly known as thinking, right? So yes, all of that is opinion, but is not an opinion where they're sort of demanding you to do something. It's just opinion where they're passively telling you something. And this is an opinion, yes, but it's not too much of a strong opinion. Definitely not stronger than the first one. So all of this, guys, we can X this all out. So let's X this all out. That was a really, really long sentence. So all of that can be crossed out. And then it says, it follows that thinking and playing are really one and the same thing. Again, he thinks that. I don't necessarily, maybe I don't necessarily think that. He thinks that, but he's not demanding you to do something like you need to do this or you need to think this. He's just saying this is what I think. This is not it's not what you should think, but this is what I think. So this is more passive. So this can't be the opinion, right? So then, guys, so that means that the opinion, so without even me looking at the options, is going to be something along the lines that we should encourage children to play to develop their thinking skills. So let's look at this. Children need to be taught how to think about the future. No way does it talk about thinking about the future. Okay, so that's X clearly. Children who do not play will not be good thinkers. Yeah, so this is also a common thing, guys. So I'm pretty sure they have a name for this. I'm not really sure of the name, but so it's like saying let me just use the example. It's saying children have to play in order to develop thinking skills. But then obviously the contrary to that is that if children don't play, they won't be good thinkers. People might commonly fall into these traps that this would be the correct answer, but that doesn't work because you're kind of extracting from you're basically extracting from the fact here it's trying to say you need A in order to B, as in you need to play in order to develop thinking skills. And then what it's trying to say there is if you don't do A, you can't have B. So if you don't play, you don't have the thinking skills, right? And that's you can't conclude that from there. He's saying one thing, but you can't necessarily say that he's also thinking the other thing. So let me just actually write that here. So he's saying that A causes B, but this is not the same as saying if you don't have A, or A, if you guys do maths, A prime is that you don't have A, meaning you won't have B. So these two things are not equivalent, and always never fall into this trap. Like this is a common thing they use in the BMAT, but these things are never equivalent. And because of that, this is gonna have to be an X. And then it says playing a thing are essentially two forms of the same activity. Yeah, so that's basically the last sentence, and we basically said it wasn't opinion, but it wasn't the most strongly opinionated sentence, so it can't be this one. And it says children need to be allowed to play in order to develop their thinking skills. Yeah, so that's clearly, literally, word for word, saying back the first sentence. They need to play to develop their thinking skills. So I'm pretty confident is this, but let's exclude the last one. Playing is just an early version of abstract thinking and reasoning. Yeah, he probably does say something along those lines, but it's not literally telling me back what the most opinionated sentence is. It's just something he said in the middle of there, right? And remember, this is the main conclusion of the above argument, not the conclusion of just a specific portion of the argument, the whole thing. So if if you were to read that and you were to feedback to your boss, like what were they trying to say? You're not going to say playing is just an early version. You're going to say to them that this guy thinks that children should be allowed to play to develop their thinking skills. So this one's going to be wrong on that part. So this one is D. So again, guys, hopefully this one wasn't too difficult. This is one of the more straightforward ones, and really, guys, I think two, at least like two or three of them would be along these lines, and two or three is any amount of points in the BMAT is really good, and two or three is a good amount of points to have at the back of your trolley. So good, guys, and hope to see you in the next question. Okay, guys, so previously we were looking at question 11, and we learned this technique of if you're saying A means B, that's not the same as if you don't have A, you won't have B. That's something really to be aware of, guys, and a common thing they used to trick out students in the BMAT. But now, guys, with that in the back of our toolbox, we move on to question 17. So let's read it together. So childhood obesity is still a problem. This is often blamed on the fact that children have easy access to a range of unhealthy foods and increasingly have more money available to them to spend on fattening and sugar-filled food. A solution seems obvious: raise the prices of all these foods so that parents will have more control of what their children eat and will find it more economical to buy healthy foods. Unfortunately, this is unlikely to work, as the problem is also caused by the fact that unhealthy foods tend to be more convenient, and that is what many parents consider when deciding what foods to provide. A wider range of ready-to-eat healthy food options would be a great start to solving the problem of child obesity. Which of the following best fits the main conclusion of the above argument? So, guys, give yourself just over a minute, come back, and let's go over this one. Okay, guys, so hopefully you've had some time to go over this question. So let's go through this. It says, children obesity is still a problem. It's clearly an opinion, and since it's the first thing, it's going to be the most opinionated so far, isn't it? So I'm going to bracket that off. And it says, this is often based on the fact that children have easy access to a range of foods and increasingly have more money available for them to spend on fattening and sugar-filled foods. So that is an opinion, guys. But remember, the a key technique, that's an opinion of someone else. So this is often blamed on the fact that. So he's trying to say, this is the reason why people think that childhood obesity is still a thing now. It is not necessarily what he's thinking. He's just re-quoting what other people's opinion is. So that's more of a kind of fact, if you like. So all of this can be walled off. Okay, so let's wall all this off. Then it says, a solution seems obvious: raise the prices of all these foods so that parents would have more control of what their children eat and will find it more equal to buy healthy foods. So yeah, so that's more. So this is a weird sentence because you probably argue that it is an opinion. So what he's trying to do here, the author, is that he's trying to say that for other people, this would be the obvious solution, right? He's not trying to say that this is what I think the solution would be, but this is kind of the solution of other people, how other people go by it. So I would argue this, firstly, is not as strong as the first sentence, and therefore I'm going to cross this one out. Let's cross this one out. Okay, that's good. It says, unfortunately, this is unlikely to work, as the problem is also caused by the fact that unhealthy food tend to be more convenient, and that is what many parents consider when deciding what foods to provide. So yeah, this is an opinion. He's saying that this is what other people think, yes, but then I think this is not going to work. So unfortunately, this is unlikely to work. That's also an opinion, and yeah, we don't really need all the other fluff with it, so we can just cross that one out. Yeah, so I so far, I'd say both of those opinions are around the same level, so I'm going to still consider both of them. And then the last says, a wide range of ready-to-eat healthy food would be a good start to solving the problem of childhood obesity. So remember, guys, whenever you see this demanding words, this would be a good idea. This should be what has to be done. This needs to be done. This must be done. Would is a bit more passive, not really proper demanding, but it's definitely more opinionated than the previous two. So I'm gonna really bracket this off, and because of that, we can X this out and we can X this out. So that means that, guys, from here, the most opinionated sentence is the fact that there should be more ready to eat healthy food options available. Okay, so now, guys, we've formulated in our head what the conclusion should be, and we just need to look at the options to look at which one best fits that. So it says parents should have more control over the food that their children eat. It says that nowhere. The price of animals should be raised. Yeah, so it said something like that, but then it said this isn't going to work, isn't it? So that's wrong. And then it says there should be more ready to eat healthy meals available. I've probably basically already got my answer here, isn't it? Because that literally shows what we just said the conclusion should be. And then next it says children have too much access to fattening and sugar-filled foods. I remember it said that somewhere, but that's just the conclusion of that part, not the conclusion of the whole above argument, isn't it? So this one can't be it. And then it says child obesity is still a problem. Yes, we remember we said that was an opinion, but we're looking for the strongest opinion, and that wasn't the strongest opinion. So this can't be it. So this one was C. So hopefully, guys, this one again wasn't too difficult. It could so as you can see, guys, like as we're doing more questions, it's getting easier and easier, right? You might be thinking that okay, we're just getting lucky with having a couple of easy questions as, but partly is that, and partly also, guys, we're building up on skills and we're getting much better at this. So hopefully, guys, you continue on and we can get even better and work together. So catch you in the next one, guys.